to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Roll call, Mr. Ayer.
Here.
Mr. Bartlett.
Here.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Here.
Dr. Lewis.
Here.
Mr. Van Stone.
Here.
Mr. York.
Here.
Sounds like everyone is here. Okay, we had two minutes. We had the January the 8th minutes and the special, minutes from that, January 17th meeting. Any questions regarding those minutes? No. All right, a motion and a second to accept.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Wait, well, I wasn't at the second one, so I have to, are you gonna just hold them separately?
I was gonna kind of put them together, but.
Because I have to abstain for the second one, since I wasn't there.
Okay, just voting on the
1/8.
on
1/8.
January the 8th
Yeah.
minutes, well, I guess we already had the motion in a second. Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, now voting on the minutes for the special January the 17th meeting. Mr.
We have a
Ayer.
motion
Well,
to,
do we, let's do it.
So moved.
Second.
Second. Mr.
Aye.
Ayer. Mr. Bartlett. well,
Abstain.
you're not- yeah, not
Abstain.
voting. Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye. Were
Mr.
you
Van
there?
Stone.
You weren't,
Aye.
you and I missed it.
Mr. York.
Aye.
Was there, we have questions here? What's
Well,
going on?
Susan voted
She should
aye.
abstain. She
I
was-
thought I was there.
Okay,
We both missed that meeting, so,
I got it.
yeah.
Was
You
I?
sort of felt like you were there.
You were with us in spirit.
It was the spirit. January 17th?
All right, in communications, we have Chief Hines' December report. Chief, do you wish to make comments about this?
I don't have any. I don't think any questions, if anybody does.
Anyone questions?
I do plan to have the annual report probably the second week or the second meeting in February.
It looks like we've had a bit of a percentage drop across a lot of the categories.
We did, and again, that was due to the short staffing pretty much the whole year.
Well, was it staffing or maybe crime was down?
Well, I would hope that,
Let's
I
look
would
on the
hope that some of
positive,
that,
bright
yes,
side.
yes.
Okay. No other questions about the report?
Yeah,
Is that a Mariemont kid?
no.
Okay, we have a couple of spending requests here. In fact, we have 3 of them. Can we
What's
bunch
guns?
these together and do them separately?
I think I would do them separate.
Separately? Okay, the first spending request is the Davy tree, the first phase of the Davy tree work. Any questions?
I do, so I talked to Kelly about this. I think it would be good, with now that, you know, Ben's heading the shop up, is to maybe step back and, I'm not gonna stop this, I think we should keep going with this, but step back and look at who all are we contracting with, and how much are we spending with them and stuff like that, just to see, you know, is it the right,
Right.
is it the right value for the village or not, so.
You can get different bids.
Well, yeah, but the first step of the analysis is who'd you contract with and for what work, you know? And so you get a dollar amount, so you go after the biggest dollars first, you know, instead of going after the
That's
lowest.
not just the trees, that's just across the board.
Sure, yeah,
Stuff
yeah,
to
it's
do.
across all the
So
different-
you and I should probably sit down and,
But I think it would be good for, you know, especially with a new set of eyes there to be able to look at that kind of stuff and you know.
We're only getting bids for the concourse. So Rod has contacted Shawnee Tree.
or for the trees
Johnny
specifically.
Madison and one other, I think. He talked to me about it.
Also, so
Okay, good, good.
so we can get a comparison there too as well.
Yeah, that'll be good.
Cool.
That'll be good.
This is for the tree work on the backside of these concourse stuff.
Oh, okay.
So like tree removal and cleanup.
Well, not entire removal, it's more
Trimming.
cutting them or trimming them down to about concourse brick level there, so to speak, so that you can see the view.
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the idea. And those trees basically can be cut at about that level and just drop.
So this spending request for the 18,000, what gets done with that?
Well, overall health of the trees. Overall health with the trees and also safety of the trees right now.
But I mean, is the 18,000, is it based on just, this is what we're gonna put into a pot to use tree by tree, or do we have like an estimate that this tree?
We don't have an estimate.
Okay.
But as of last year, we went over the first phase budget of 18,000. And I was just, just trying to be proactive.
So this is kind of a blanket purchase order we're gonna issue that you can release against for trees that need trimming or removal by
Correct.
Davy. Yeah,
By
okay.
Davy Tree,
By Davy Tree.
right, because this is specific to Davy Tree.
Right, right.
We've been dealing with Davy Tree.
Right.
As
I think
long as
they,
I can
I think
remember,
they
so.
handle most of the municipalities around here. They must have a good,
So it'll be good to get those bids for the
yeah,
other work too, just
excellent.
to get an
Yep,
idea.
yep.
Sort of, part of the reason for that, because that's, that work on those trees behind the concourse is somewhat unusual, and we wanted to get that done, during these cold winter months when the guys aren't busy, kind of a thing. So we were hoping, obviously to get a good bid or price on that. Yeah, but we're doing it now.
That makes sense.
Thanks.
All right, motion and a second then for that spending, the first one, the Davy.
So moved.
Brother-in-law works here, should I?
Second,
Second, Mr. Ayer,
aye.
Mr. Bartlett,
Aye.
Mr. Brown Knight.
Just a quick question. My brother-in-law works at Davy Tree. Should I abstain?
I think you should.
You
Yeah.
don't need to abstain for that, no.
No,
Does he share in the profits?
I don't. I don't know what his compensation package is, to be honest with you.
I don't think you need to abstain
Okay.
for something like that.
Okay, thank you. Aye.
Aye. Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stowe.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
Okay. All right, moving on.
That's good to ask, though.
Next one, this is for the CME pipelining down at the pool. Everybody, I think, Matt, you want to make a comment about this? I think everybody knows what this is.
Well, we went over it in detail in the permanent improvements meeting, so I think everybody's up to speed on that. It's to fix the leak in the lap pool. We're 95% sure.
Okay.
As opposed to replacing the pipe, it's lining.
It'll definitely repair that section, and we're nearly certain that we'll take care of the leak.
All right, a motion and a second then to accept.
So moved. Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, and the last one. The last one's for $6,500 for, what is this? Oh, this is for the fireworks, I'm sorry,
Fireworks.
for the fireworks. This is to put the show on again this particular July the 4th, which I believe is going to fall on a Thursday, and that is the date that we're going to do it on. And we'll have the 5th as the rain date. And I believe we're going to be getting approximately the same size show as we got last year, which was slightly cut back, because the expenses keep going up and we're doing something and,
Yeah.
Years gone by, though, we've always trying to get donations. from
we have, and donations this past year came in at about a third of the cost, despite my efforts and efforts of others to try and get people to donate. So generally speaking, the residents of this village are very kind and very generous to donate toward the fireworks, and I'm assuming that they will be again this year.
So what, about 2,000 last year in donations?
Yeah, a teeny bit more, teeny bit more,
Okay, so we're going to try that again? Okay.
yeah. No. I mean, the only other option would be to greatly curtail the length and duration of the display.
You come to that.
I mean, if you can do that,
Was it-
That's not American.
was it-
what I say,
We could
July
not
the
do it
4th.
at all? That's another option.
All right, all right. Motion and a second then to put on some fireworks.
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right. Looks like we'll be having fireworks. Okay, permission, it's time for permission to address council. Do we have anyone with us tonight? Mr. Sabo? Please state your name and your address.
Okay.
Thank you.
My name's Sid Sabo, 3857 Indian View.
And Sid, before you start, please, let me just remind you that we do have the 3-minute time limit is on. Do your best.
I'll cut it in half then.
Do your best.
In 2022, I was drawn by a flyer entitled, "Do you want a shared use path through Mariemont?" In this first meeting, I have voiced questions and concerns, especially when this Mariemont connector seemed to be focused on a road through Trolley Line Park. My first concern was that nothing should be decided until a 7-way intersection at the bottom of Miami Hill is made safe for pedestrians and vehicles. Mayor Brown has stressed this numerous times because he lives there. At last February's formal meeting about the intersection, I listened to the problems being presented and suggested a 4-way intersection as a solution. Thankfully, this appears to be in process, but has not been approved yet. Other questions and concerns are, 1, what does the proposal give to the neighborhood that we don't already have? I can walk or ride my bike from the high school to Plainville Road now, as I have been doing for decades. Second, the proposed path is being sold to us by people who do not live in our neighborhood and have no vested interest in our neighborhood. 3, the proposed path destroys Trolley Line Park. Although this precious green space is conveniently referred to as Mariemont Utility Corridor by path advocates, it is a park used and enjoyed by the people who live around it. 4, the maintenance of this asphalt path will be an added expense to the village in the foreseeable future. It will be an extra burden on the rationing out of funds for capital repairs. 5, the UC study indicated the path will be used primarily by local pedestrians. 6, how specifically does this benefit our neighborhood? I only see the detrimental destruction of our park. And 7, why the rush to build through Trolley Line Park? What are we connecting to, and when? Are we connecting to a future promise that could change? Will it be an asphalt path to nowhere? And I'll just cut it off there.
10 seconds left. You did a good job.
Very, yeah, 10 seconds, very good job. Very good job.
Is that 3 minutes?
Yeah, yes, yes. Thank you, Sid, thanks for the comments.
To be continued.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks, Sid.
Mr. Beavis?
Rex Beavis, 4011 Miami Road. I want to talk about the same thing that Sid's talking about. And I wanted to say, first of all, I appreciate the work that's been done to design a better intersection at the bottom of Miami Road Hill. Currently, there's a 6 or 7-way intersection, depending on how you count it. And a new 4 or 5-way intersection will be really nice. So I just want to actually compliment my neighbor Sid Sabo for encouraging this approach. And I think that most people that are involved with it right now are seeing that as a good approach to minimize that intersection somehow. Number 2, I do not think a stop sign at the base of Miami Hill is a good idea. That concerns me, of putting a stop sign at the base of that hill. And then Sid kind of alluded to this, but I really think that the intersection should be designed and built before any decision is made about bike trail within the trolley line park between Remboldt and Hiawatha. There really isn't any trail to connect to either on the Murray Avenue side or on the high school and library side. There's nothing there. It's just a segment that would be built either within Trolley Line Park or beside it or within one of those streets, Remboldt or Hiawatha. So I think it's premature to lay out the bike trail within the park until this intersection is fixed. That's my comments. Thank you.
No, thanks, Rex. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all right.
Anyone else? No? All right. Moving on then to the bills. Any question regarding the bills this week?
I did have one quick question. So there's a network fee thing here. So this is one of the things that's going to be separate from our IT support, because they talked about there's other software costs that are not going to be included, optimized IT.
Right.
So I'm assuming this is one of the ones that's going to be separate from, that we would continue to maintain, right? Is that?
You're talking about like a licensing thing?
Yes, you see there's a fee in here for.
How far down are you?
Like about the 5th or 6th. It's iWorkQ.
Oh, right.
It's a systems internet software management and support for February 2024 through January 2025.
Isn't that the building?
That's the building.
The building
part?
department uses that
Yeah.
to track its permits.
Right. So I'm just clarifying, this is separate from
Correct.
the optimized IT
Yes.
stuff. Because optimized IT said there's other stuff that's software that's not going to be, that we're not covering. And this is one of the ones that's separate.
That'd be one of them.
Yeah,
Right.
okay, got it.
Well, then, and of course, I mean, the whole Windows 10 thing is not going to be supported, going into 2025, and we'll have to be talking about that. I mean,
The what?
is it Windows 10 or whatever?
Oh.
One of the big ones. It's not going to be supported any longer in 2025. That will be coming up. I mean, that's into 2020, late 2025, I believe. But yes, this is one of these sort of holdovers that's a separate kind of a thing.
Yeah, okay.
Okay. Any other questions about the bills? Motion to pay the bills?
So moved.
Second.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Vanstone?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right, let's pay some bills. All right, I think we only have the one committee report. Randy, would you like to read on there?
If I should let my committee members who added the length to this.
This is not bad at all.
Do you have the signed report somewhere?
It's right here. I've only signed it. I haven't gotten it over there yet.
It was okay.
Before I get into this, I want to start by thanking the tennis Mariemont Racket Club, Kevin Taylor, Linda Bartlett, Carter Kemper, and Stan Baylor for all their work. And I also want to thank and recognize the South 80 Parks and Rec Commission, Steve Spooner, Mark Glassmeyer, John Fakes, John Morgan, and Andy Seeger. What I'm proposing tonight came from them. They volunteered their time and effort. They know about what's going on in these facilities more than any of them, and I trust their judgment. So, the Health and Recreation Committee met on Tuesday, January 16th in council chambers. Present at the meeting were Health and Recreation Committee members Randy York, Susan Brown Knight, and Matthew Ayer. Also in attendance were Mayor Bill Brown and Mariemont Racket Club member Linda Bartlett. The meeting commenced at 6:32 p.m. The purpose of the committee meeting was to review budget request, 2023 results, and 2024 operational projections from the South 80 Trails, Garden, and Park Advisory Board. Budget request, 2023 results, revised membership fees, and 2024 operational projections from the Mariemont Racket Club. Number 3, planning and engineering estimates for the sidewalk through Dale Park. And number 4, the review of a bench park program. The committee reviewed the reports submitted by the South 80 Trails and Garden Park Advisory Board that I attached to the report, and unanimously recommended that the council approve the funding request for 2024. This funding request includes the purchasing of a solar pump that is modular and can be removed, and also some operational costs that they have. I think all in 2023, South 80 Committee netted $4,182,000. That's what they took in from memberships for the plots, less their expenses, and they're projecting a total profit or excess revenues of about $5,600 for 2024. The solar upgrade would be about $4,121, the solar panel for the water pump. We do pay Mark Glassmeyer for the use of his tractor. He does a lot of work down there, and that's about $1,000 a year. And they're going to get seeds for a pumpkin patch and upgrade some signage. They do not intend on raising their rates for the plots for 2024. The committee does respectfully request.
Randy, real quick on that.
Sure.
Actually, go ahead, finish. You should finish your role.
We did have a lot of talk about what's going on in there, and we added this. The committee does respectfully request that the South 80 Committee review environmental standards for a floodplain to make sure that the gardens and other areas are in compliance, and if necessary, to develop a plan to move towards compliance. And I will tell you, I've had conversations with them, and that is already in motion. The committee also requests that the South 80 Committee evaluate the current process for gardeners to clean up their plots at the end of the season and to provide clarity on the leash law and enforcement for the South 80. And I've engaged them in that conversation as well. The committee also reviewed reports submitted by the Mariemont Racquet Club, and I attached that report. And that report, again, just details their revenues, their expenses, what their projection, what they did in 2023, what their projections are for 2024. They also are making an incremental expense request for 6 benches and for crack and touch-up repairs on court 5, 6, and 7. 5 and 6 are the lower 2 courts, and 7 is the court that kind of goes, the smaller court that goes the other way. The committee reviewed the reports submitted by the Mariemont Racquet Club and unanimously recommended that council approve the funding request for 2024. This approval was contingent on the village executing a satisfactory contract agreement with the tennis pro, and I think we're getting close on that. There's a couple of hiccups. The committee also unanimously approved the membership rates increase for 2024. Related to the racket facilities, the committee is developing a long-range capital plan as a component of overall village recreational subsidies. So if you look at, in this, we kind of talked about this in this forum, you know, what are the tennis courts worth to us? You know, as an amenity to our residents, and what does the pool mean to us? And frankly, what does Dale Park, with that being a big park, and a lot of what we put into that. So Matt's working on an operational plan for the pool moving forward. We have it for the tennis, and at some point, you know, I would like us to just review that and say, yes, a pool is worth $50,000, whatever that money is, and tennis courts are worth this much. Concerning the last 2 items on the agenda, the committee is not currently offering recommendations on the final 2 items on the agenda for this meeting, as further research and evaluation is necessary, including an overall inventory of the condition and placement of our current park benches. In fact, respectfully submitted, Randy York, Susan Brown Knight, and Matthew Ayler.
Okay, you've heard the report. Do you have any questions regarding the report? I have one.
Please.
How many gallons per minute is that solar pump?
I have no idea. It's probably in here somewhere.
Okay.
I'll text John Fakes and ask him. He's putting it in.
So with the solar pump, it's still, that gets into about break even, which is, I mean, that's still really good to be able to.
Is the point of the pump to just fill a rain barrel, or are people going to hook hoses to it and run to their gardens?
Not
to
hoses, mostly big 5-gallon buckets.
Yeah,
that they
so
take to their.
So fill buckets or a rain barrel and then carry
Yep,
water
yep.
to, you can't hook a hose to it? You don't know? Got
My
enough force?
understanding is they say they don't want you to do it, and I think that's simply so, you know.
They don't do it.
So no one else can use it at
Yeah,
that point.
Okay.
So what's down there now? Is there a
It's
water?
a hand pump.
Hand pump.
Oh,
So in the off-season, they'll take it out and
Yeah.
put it someplace safe. Well,
Well,
I
they
shouldn't say
do-
just off-season, it's like rainy season.
Yeah, they do have a unit where they
I don't
keep the
think the
tractor.
panel can get wet.
Right,
Yeah.
so that's why he said it was portable, which is good.
So I have a question. I'll just use the tennis as an example. So the net profit of $45.78, does that automatically get rolled toward expenses this year?
I will defer to our fiscal.
I'm not sure who the question's to.
Well, I'm just asking.
Well, I know that, this isn't the question you're asking, but my understanding is it just goes into the pot,
It goes into the general fund.
general
Yeah.
fund, and that's where it is.
Okay.
Now, as far as the fee we'll get from Mariemont School District, I think that we had
Oh,
talked
is that
about
what
that.
MSD is?
Yeah.
I was like, why is the
I think
sewer
we had
district
talked about that being, because part of the agreement is, yes, this is going to be used for capital for improvements for the tennis courts. So we'll have to figure out a name account or however we do that. Because they did do the 25.5 last year, but that was spent. That was catch up on what we did.
Right.
So, but it's gonna be, when we do that whole resurfacing, it's gonna be permanent improvement again. And I think, Kelly, I think Richard said there's a way to be able to take money and earmark it, set it aside, so it's only used for specific purposes.
Right, you do a restricted account.
Yeah, yeah.
I guess I have a whole bunch of questions here, partially because I'm a newbie, but it just appears to me that all the park stuff, whatever we want, should be looked at by our village, our part-time village administrator, and kept track of, and the expenses and what's what and how much should be done on a very standardized basis. I have for example, the touch-up work for courts 6, 7, and 8, or I'm sorry, 5, 6, and 7, that's sort of routine maintenance, and shouldn't that be covered by the fees? And we, and I think the same thing at the pool. What is standard maintenance and what is capital improvement?
Improvement. Mhm.
And because I think we should be moving toward, if we can't get there in 1 year, much like we're doing on some of the other things with salaries, saying in 3 years, we want the fees to be covering those. But I would like to make sure that we look at the pool, we look at South 80, and we look at the tennis courts. We're doing those all consistently. And if that means the other thing that I think we need to keep, this has very little to do with this report, but we talk about the capital, rather than create these little islands of money, it seems to me we need to set the priorities. For example, Matt has pointed out that he feels the pool should be a top priority. Now, does that mean the pool is on the capital we spend on parks and recreation, or whatever we want to call that? Should that be pooled and we selectively pick our priorities so we can get there sooner rather than later? And I'm not saying that the pools are number one. That's a decision we have to make. But I use that as an example.
You mean as opposed to having, say, 3 or so separate pots of
Yes.
capital improvement money, one for tennis, one for pool, one for parks, so that basically we can, if we have one pool, we want to be able to tap it big if we need something big.
We
at
do
the
that.
pool.
We do that today. That's the permanent improvement
Yeah,
fund.
that's.
Right.
yeah.
So that's what the
But
permanent
I think
improvement
he's
fund is for
talking
the big.
about
No, big-
creating separate.
Well, no, he's saying, because it's all part of the permanent improvement, that's part of the 5-year capital
Well,
thing that we did also, Bill.
That's what is not clear to me, what's permanent improvement here and what's maintenance.
So the finance committee went through this before, because it was a question, it was a very good question, that we said, if it's a maintenance, it's operating. If you're replacing something, if it's big dollars, then it goes into capital improvement. And so the 9,000 for this, because we've done this in the past, historically, the touch-up of the tennis courts was operating expense, so it went there.
And is that counted as an expense?
Yes, it would be.
But I don't see the 11.1 down here under operational expenditures. That's where I'm confused.
No, this was their ask for 2023. And you're right, yes. If this is what we want to do, this goes back to the question that we had is, philosophically, what do these facilities mean to us? Because I will tell you that membership for the pool and for the tennis courts is not going to cover it.
No. I would, if you're not taking the capital. So I want to go back to something Bob said that I think is a good question, and it builds on what Marcy had as well. So in 2022, the tennis courts ran a surplus of $3,250, and in 2023 they ran a surplus of $4,580. So that's already $7,800. And then if they run a surplus again this year, then that would cover the 9,000. Because, again, you carry forward that surplus. But I think you bring up a good point. We should track that stuff. I agree with what you're saying.
I just think it should be tracked, and I like in a uniform format. So when Matt comes up with things for the pool or whatever, we're in uniform, and there's some input from our village administrator on, does he think the fees cover the expenses?
Could we start with, because that's really what we're going after, and I want to take it another layer. You also say, what is because you have to build in capital, that's part of the subsidy, and you gotta, you've got to allocate that cost over a number of years, right? So the true cost of the operation, then you have to look at kind of the average membership, right? And who it's being served. So we're looking at, who are we subsidizing, how many people we're subsidizing, what do we get for the subsidy? So we want to create a uniform way to assess that philosophically, per Randy's point. So if you wouldn't mind, I would love for Health and Rec to be able to kind of create a format to bring to full council to take a look initially at how we propose assessing that, and then we can talk next steps there. But we had a pretty robust conversation, to your point, of like, how do we uniformly assess these different amenities in the village?
And I think having Chuck and Kelly look at that stuff would be helpful. Not, and I'm fine with this report, but I have one other question. So the 3619, if I understand, that was an ask, and you don't know, will that be coming in 24, or is that from 23?
That is their use in 2023.
But it would be income supposedly in 24.
Correct.
Okay. And you have expectation they will.
We had agreed to it last year. That was
Okay.
So-
our,
So
that was
the
our
mo-
formula moving forward.
So the money we got last year.
Last year was
Was
catch
for-
up from 1976.
Okay.
But this does need to go into a capital account, because that was
Which one?
the
Which one are you circling?
3619.
Which one?
The
The
3619.
money
yeah.
from the school.
Right.
It needs to go into a restricted account, yeah.
Yeah, that'll be used in capital, like the permanent improvement fund, just like the resurfacing of 1, 2, and 3,
Right.
1, 2, 3, 4 was.
But only available for tennis?
Well, that's because the school's paying for the tennis, right? That's what
But
that's
I think
for.
I think that was Bob's original question.
Well, I think-
I was trying to ask, basically.
Yeah.
Is that, I think he's talking about, if we have these restricted accounts, we're building those up, that can only be used for tennis or pool.
I think you're gonna have a hard time telling the school that they're gonna subsidize the pool.
Well,
I think
that
this
may
is,
be.
this is a unique
You might have a
situation.
point.
Yeah, this is
Yeah.
a unique situation.
Okay.
Well, maybe that's true, but I'm just saying, I would like to see it consistent, so it's a little clearer than this, and
Yeah.
maybe it's just me.
I
What's,
mean, the committee talked at length about that, to
Well, that-
create some consistency, so I think there's a lot of agreement around what you're saying.
I just think it'd be a good use of some resources the village has with Chuck and Kelly to put that together, so that, also so that the fees are at whatever's defined as a break even. And I agree with you that we're not gonna pay for all the capital and all that. I'm just saying, we just need to define what break even is. Sure.
Yeah, well, in the past, we did, Bob, to your point, we did try to say, the goal was break even on operational expenses. And then we recognized the capital is sort of over and above, but that was always the goal, was before to say, hey, let's at least cover the operating expenses with this stuff.
And my question is, several.
That's a goal.
I'm with you there, but I mean, the capital expenses are sort of the
We need to look
elephant
at
in the
those
room
too.
that nobody wants to talk about, because those are the really monumental,
They're the
big
real,
expenses.
and we can't, depreciation goes into operating, but we're not allowed to account for depreciation.
That's
So
correct.
it is, it's a challenge. So anyway, and then the question is, again, what are we subsidizing, who are we subsidizing, and really laying that out. And making sure it's equitable. So we were talking about how the pool is often dedicated towards one demographic, the tennis courts to another, which is lovely. I think that's compelling. So there's some work to be done to create a uniform conversation. And I think the Health and Rec Committee should do that work. come before, and Chuck and Kelly should be part of that conversation of this is what we propose in terms of taking a look at all of our amenities. Because they all require subsidy. They all do.
Yeah.
And so let's just be conscious of what we're subsidizing and go forward.
I'm kind of thinking, though, that conversation might be best talked about, at the committee of the whole or something. That's a big conversation.
Yeah,
Because
but
we're
you need a
talking
framework.
philosophically what it is.
Yes,
we
agreed.
want to
But the
support.
idea
The
is.
prioritization, yeah, but I think the format
Yeah.
that
Well,
I'm
maybe the
talking about
format,
doesn't
but
mean-
ultimately,
Because it
I
seems
think
to
it
be-
gets decided in
Yeah.
front of all of us.
Sure.
Yeah,
They'd have to bring a proposal forward, and we'd have to vote on that, or maybe
Yeah.
tweak it.
Because it's primarily these the recreational items that we need to be concerned with, the pool and the tennis. I mean, those are the
And the
subsidy items.
But I'm suggesting that basically once Randy does that, or that there's a format or whatever it is, that instead of hashing it out in open council here, we do it at the committee of the whole.
That's it?
Oh, I apologize.
That makes sense.
Yeah, that's
Oh, okay. Well, we don't have to, you know what, we don't have to decide that right here now. We're just sort of, and those are, Susan, very good suggestions, by the way. So,
Who is gonna review the contract with the tennis pro?
well, we're not there yet.
Well, but I'm just saying, it said, but I think, my only question is that,
Well, ultimately, Ed will review it,
Ed.
but
Ed has it. He made a suggestion to add to it. We were all agreeable to that. I sent him a revised this morning. So the mayor wanted to have a committee set up before he'd sign it. We can hopefully get to that tonight. So I don't know if there's any other obstacles I don't know about.
have we done looking how other communities deal with their tennis pro?
Chuck has started that, yes.
Okay, and so that would be input into the
There'll
committee?
be some input on that,
Okay.
correct.
Okay.
Right.
That was, a lot of mine were
Yeah.
questions, not.
And Bob, actually, that was a question also posed at Health and Rec, and so there are, Terrace Park does something similar, but the question too is what type of designation the tennis pro should be, and that's where it's contingent. We want to make sure Ed signs off on everything.
But Terrace Park is a private, and this is not.
Right.
All of those considerations will be rolled into part of the discussion, about that. Susan raises another good point. We haven't really ultimately decided that yet,
Decided what yet, I'm sorry?
as to how we're going to hire the tennis pro. Is he a contractor or is he an employee?
What? I thought we dealt with that last
Yeah,
year.
last year
did.
we did, it came up, and I think what happened, I went back through my records just the other day. The formal legal opinion that I'd originally given the village is, we got a problem in letting a private individual utilize our property for the furtherance of his own business, Last year, we said we're gonna take a look at this, address it, and try to fix it. And I said, well, let's go this way. I'll give you an opinion this year that it's fine to do it this way, but let's revisit it next year to make sure that everyone is on the same page. Last year, I think we felt a little bit under the gun because I think this gentleman either had already started or he was waiting on his
It
first
was
paycheck.
June. It was the middle of June.
Please?
We started this process in January, and it was the middle of June before we got the contract.
I don't remember
So I
that.
think the reason why it was because we had tennis players
Yeah.
that couldn't play because, we didn't have a contract for a tennis pro. But we started that process about the same time as we're doing this year.
Well, it's-
Well, he did with me last year, I can tell you. I wasn't the guy that held up a contract until May when the season started.
Well, irrespective of whatever the delays were last year, is now the middle of January. We are starting the discussion now, and hopefully we will have a resolve to that by the start of tennis season.
Well,
Well before.
we want to be able to sign people
Well,
up, Bill.
Yeah.
I'm just saying,
Because-
we're not gonna,
It's just-
I'm
it
trying to
sounds
say, we're
like
not gonna
there was
drag
a
it out in the
minor-
middle of
there's an
June.
edit, right? It sounds like that's already happening between.
Yeah. Randy, you send me a contract, and frankly, I think it's fine if that's the way council decides to go. You know what I mean? But I got the impression that council may want to discuss this a little bit more. I mean, if council says, hey, we're going to do it the way it's written up in the contract that Randy and Ed wrote together, it's good to go.
You did have that one out that you wanted to add, that we talked about.
I just got that today from you, but I'll certainly add that in.
So why don't we add that, and then we can
Right.
circulate and talk about it next week, and,
Right.
or next council meeting, and if everyone's comfortable, we'll do it. If
Right.
everyone's not comfortable, we won't do it.
I think that's a great idea.
So we'll all get a copy of the contract to review, all council and,
Say it again?
we'll all get a copy to review I mean, as opposed to just the committee.
Sure.
Sure, yeah, that's fine.
Thank you.
I had one other question, because it wasn't in your report, but I noticed it's in the ordinances, and I just, clarification, is to create a racket club board. All of our other organizations just have committees. Is there any legal issue about board, or why we just can't have a committee, like we have the pool committee?
It's the pool, in the
pool
code,
board, isn't it?
it happens to be the pool commission for whatever reason.
Whatever.
Tree advisory is tree advisory board, so we've used different
Park board is
words.
park board.
Yeah,
And
we've
I will
used
tell
different
you,
words.
I took the park board
Yeah.
ordinance to write that one, and that's really the
Well,
only reason it's
yeah.
there.
My only question, I'm just trying to understand the legal differences between them, and are we, why and wherefore, that's all.
There's a distinction without a difference, Bob.
Okay,
There's no problem.
that's fine, I was asking a question.
Okay.
So Randy, is the operational expenses,
Yeah, we looked at those, and those might be a little light. Good point.
You're looking at tennis now?
This is back on tennis. So we have the operational expenses about 10,000. I think I underestimated that, and it will probably be closer to 12,000.
So the surplus then will only be
2,000.
2,000.
Surplus is a surplus.
Are you going to amend the minutes to say that, or we can leave it the way it is?
What, you mean amend the report?
To amend the report where?
To change the projected operational
Oh.
expenses.
I don't, it was an attachment, it wasn't on the,
Yeah, it wasn't part of.
in part of the report
Was it-
Okay,
itself.
that's fair enough.
Yeah,
Good question.
it is a good question.
I want to very briefly go back to dive into the pool for just a moment. And that is that's the most complicated of our Parks and Rec entities. But what the Pool Commission is working on is a very long and detailed list of operating expenses, because it includes everything, chemicals and water and electricity and lifeguards and software and internet connection and just all sorts of things. And so we have operating expenses, and then we're carefully splitting out permanent improvement. And so that's going to be presented for the year, and with a projected membership and swim team membership, swim lesson participation, all that stuff. So we're going to present that in probably a couple of meetings from now. And then longer term, which is a bigger project, what we'd like to do is to take things out 20 years and say, look at everything around the pool, because we can come up with, and Bob, you know this as well as I do, that we can come up with estimates as how long is a pump going to last, and how long is a motor going to last, and how long is, and try to come up with a good capital plan so that we know at least our best estimate, this is how much capital we need to be putting into the pool on average each year, something like that, and then compare it with membership. And I think that the membership is one aspect of users. We also have day pass users, and then we also have a bigger picture, what is the value of the pool, even above and beyond that, as far as it being a Mariemont community amenity. So it's difficult sometimes to put a total value on that, but we're going to do the best we can with that.
Yeah.
Hey, Matt, just by way of comparison, how do we handle, like, the person who gives tennis lessons? Are they an independent contractor, or are they a village employee?
You mean their swim?
Yeah, swim, yeah. Yeah, sorry, swim.
Everybody's an employee down there.
Let's hold that
pool.
debate.
Okay.
Hold that debate.
I just was asking the question for
No, I know,
basis
right.
of comparison, that's all. And it
Correct.
wasn't meaning to open a whole can of worms.
There'll be plenty of time to do that later.
But we don't have a swimming pro either, so, I mean, it's a little different.
All right, any other questions regarding this report?
What report? You know.
Could you reread that, Randy?
Right, yeah.
All right, a motion and a second to accept it.
So moved.
second?
Mr. Ayer.
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, Randy.
Are these staying, coming off? What are we doing?
Gone.
All of them?
Gandhi.
Even the benches, everything?
No,
No, not
benches.
benches.
Not the
yeah,
benches.
double
Okay.
benches, yeah.
It's an ongoing saga.
Okay, so the South 80 and the Rec Cup, done, okay. Thank you.
Okay, miscellaneous, the Outstanding Citizen Award. Those will, your nominations, anyone wishing that, will be due March the 7th. Start thinking about that, start getting those in.
I don't know. It's obvious, so.
All right. The committee assignments, there was the two little minor changes there. I've had it reprinted here. You all have got a copy of this. We moved Matt up to Rules and Law, and we moved Van Stone down to, where'd you go, Health and Rec? Oh, you went on, yeah, Planning and Zoning. Yeah, okay. That, those are the new assignments. We're also agreeing that there are no more subcommittees. And
So I would, Joni, here's a change. So if the subcommittee's going away, then Economic Development Strategy with Envision would go up into the Planning Zoning Committee.
yes,
And I believe Matt made the switch to Rules and Law so he could work on refined code section 151 and 075. So that should probably go into Rules and Law, and I'm fine with that because I'm on that committee as well.
okay.
I'm sorry, where? Oh, never mind, okay. Move
So-
to-
so-
I got it, got
You
it.
got it? Okay.
It was code 151?
151, 075, and
Yeah,
150.
075.
What?
Okay.
It's a historic code.
And Matt, I'd be
Yeah.
happy to work,
So you're moving that into
Integrate-
rules and law?
yes, involved in your discussions with Rod on that. I know, how, we can talk later.
Yep. Yep.
Well, as long as we're doing that, then we have sort of this issue that's kind of before us here, and time is somewhat of the essence on this, Susan. I need to put this into your committee, and this is the donation of sick time by other employees to help offset Emily's need
Huh.
for additional sick time. Chief, do you want to explain a little bit more?
Yeah, I had, actually, along with Mrs. Van Pelt, we've had some discussion about being able to do that. She's going to need, obviously, time that above and beyond what she has for, in her sick time accrual. And there's employees here, and I'm one of them, that have a lot of sick time on the books and that are more than willing to donate that time, some of that time to her, so that she is not having to worry about how she's going to make ends meet while she battles this cancer. So it was something that, I'd asked the mayor to put in committee so that, but there is, and as Joni has on here, time is of an essence, so we can get on this and get something to council right away so that we can make this happen for her.
I'm sitting here
A
thinking, what do we
policy.
need it
Yeah.
for?
Well, there's also, this is where, Ed, you and I
No
just
worries,
have to
yeah.
have a conversation, because FMLA comes in here too, and what are.
She's not eligible.
She's not.
She hasn't been here long.
eligible, yeah.
Yeah,
So, there is, anyway, I can connect with you, Ed, too, and get ready for the committee, but I'm happy to move it forward.
Yeah, if you could, if we can do that as soon as possible, that'd be great.
Yeah.
I know you're busy, but if we
So,
can,
yeah.
Yeah, I
It's
gotta
a-
think about how to do it.
It's
too.
a complex
I
question.
got the ordinance.
Yeah.
Oh, do you?
Oh,
Okay,
yeah.
okay.
You have an
A lot of
ordinance?
teachers' unions do.
I have an ordinance that we can kind of work off of.
Yeah.
It needs some tweaking for us, but, yeah.
There are different pay rates too, aren't there? I mean,
No.
your pay rate is different
No,
than
she would be
Emily's, so-
paid at her pay rate.
It's time, basically, right,
Just
not
time.
money.
All we're doing is giving time.
Okay,
Yeah.
With time.
No, she would not have my pay rate, no. It
Okay.
would be strictly, yeah.
I got you. Well, you got it, just send it to me, we'll get it together.
Come on, just write her a check.
I think it's fairly simple. It's just a matter of, we need to meet and figure out.
Yeah, thinking
It's not as,
legally, I think you
because
can
I'm
do
looking
it.
into that as well, and there is some complexity, and that's where Ed.
Yeah. I have an ordinance from another municipality that we can kind of work off of.
Yeah.
Hey,
that would be
Rick?
great.
Yep.
Is it mostly people within the police department that will be donating their time, or?
Yeah, I
will
don't
be-
think so.
Okay.
I don't, I don't know that, like, I mean, obviously, other departments, if they wanted to, I'm sure that would be fine, but I'm not sure that looking at, I don't know, like Ben's department, I don't know if people have an excess amount there that they would be able to, because we don't want anybody to drain themselves down to where if something happens
Sure.
to them, they're in
Yeah.
a bind.
I was just
But
curious,
there's
because if
people
it
like
stayed in a
me and
department, it seemed
Mrs.
like it'd
Van
be.
Pelt and some other people that we've got longevity, so we have quite a bit of time that we can afford to help them out.
Donate some
Does,
time.
does that accrue over time, or do you just
Yes.
get more depending on your years of
It
service?
accrues monthly,
Oh, okay.
it's
And
not
you can
used-
roll it
that's
over?
why it grows, right?
correct.
And you can roll it over?
When you retire.
I mean, I've been lucky, I haven't used any, not an hour in 28 years.
So without making this too complicated, Chief, if you were going, say you were gonna donate 10, well, just to make the math easy, you're gonna donate 10 hours of your
Lot more than
time.
that, but yeah.
Okay, just for example, wouldn't we want it to be, since she is new to the department, wouldn't we wanna weight those 10 hours to your salary and then put that into Emily's paid time off
I
somehow?
don't
I
think you
mean,
can do it.
No,
you
it's
can't
just-
do it?
No.
You can't do it?
No, it's just hour for hour,
All right.
it's just time, yeah.
All right, I'm just trying to
There's
help
not-
Emily.
Yeah, there's not a pay thing that comes into play here as far as the different pay rates.
Yep, okay.
Okay.
It-
Everybody good?
Yeah, and then, if we're good with that one, then Rod had that email where he has to put into the finance committee fees for the building department.
Right.
Okay, I'll get with him, I didn't see that.
Yeah, I didn't see that.
Didn't get into the
Put in
packet.
the, well,
He
No,
sent
he
an
sent it
email
today.
out.
He sent it this morning or
He
something.
sent it this morning. He wanted to get his updated fees into rules of law.
Okay.
No, actually,
or,
he
no,
asked the
finance.
Or finance, I'm sorry.
All right, so we're, gonna put that over.
Mayor, can I comment just a little bit more on not so much this, what we're asking Susan to help us with, but I just want to comment on Emily's situation and, what she's got in front of her and the support from the community and the law enforcement community as a whole, and residents, it's been overwhelming, it's been great. And it just warms my heart to know that, that the community and we got people, I'm getting emails and texts from people that that are in Florida that want to buy T-shirts to help her out. So, it just feels good that people are stepping up, and I'm not surprised because this is the kind of community that we work and live in, and we're honored to know that we have that support. That's great.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. All right, moving on to resolutions, the first one.
Okay, this is the third reading to appoint Tim Wiley as a member of the Pool Commission for the calendar years 2024 and 2025.
All right, that's the third reading. A motion and a second to adopt.
So, second.
Mr. Ayer?
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett?
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight?
Aye.
Dr. Lewis?
Aye.
Mr. Vanstone?
Aye.
Mr. York?
Aye.
All right.
Okay, this is the second reading to confirm the reappointment of Michael Lockhart as swim pool manager for the calendar years 2024 and 2025 to set compensation.
Okay, that's the second reading. Any discussion? Any comments? I think it's fairly straightforward what we're doing.
No, I think we're very fortunate to have him. He's done a
Very.
great job.
Very, very fortunate.
Okay, this is the second reading to confirm the reappointment of Christopher M. Ertl as village engineer for the calendar year 2024 and to set compensation.
All right, again, second reading. Any comments? Again, I'd like to comment, Chris has just been tremendous for this village. I can't speak more highly about what he does.
Agreed.
I agree.
All right, this is the second reading to confirm the reappointment of village zoning officer Rod Holloway for calendar year 2024 and to set compensation.
All right, again, second reading. Any comments? Again, from Rod, I can't, he just worked out tremendously well. I interact with him almost every day. He's a good guy.
Right.
Yeah.
This is my chance, huh? Okay.
Oh, yeah, this is right. Bob probably knows him better than any of us. All right, we'll have the third readings next, council.
All right, this is the second reading to amend ordinance 0823 of the Mariemont Code of Ordinances to increase payment for employees.
That was the second reading, correct?
Correct. Mhm.
Any comments? No? All right, we'll have the third reading next time.
All right, this is the second reading to reappeal ordinance number 01223 pertaining to maximum pay rates for all grades of recreation employees and to enact new legislation pertaining to maximum pay rates for all grades of recreation employees.
All right, second reading, everybody understand their questions? No? All good? All good? Okay.
Okay, this is the first reading to creating Mariemont Racket Club.
Board.
Board. Board.
You want board,
Club
put in
sounds
it?
nice, too.
Well, that's what the,
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
Oh, did I forget the board?
All right, that's the first
It's on
reading.
here.
It's here.
We'll have the second
Yes, you
reading.
got it.
I didn't put it on here.
Next time.
Hey, Bill, what are we doing? We got three things that are like tabled.
I know, and they've been
What are we doing?
I don't know what we're doing. One is on the signage, that's kind of a Rod question, because
Yeah, because I'm still not clear what he wanted to, he was gonna
Where
work
we're
with
gonna
Ed
go
on
with that.
Where do we see
He was
table?
gonna work with Ed on a revision, yeah.
Do you
I
want
mean,
to just take them off the table? Just move to take them off until they're, go through committee again?
I don't know.
why don't we wait
No.
to see if he
Yeah.
wants it off the table?
Yeah, I'm not clear, I just need
Okay.
to talk to him.
I think he was still talking to some businesses.
Oh, okay, thank you.
So what about, so if, this goes from the top down, so there's applying for a grant for the Saving America Treasures stuff. Is that, are we just not doing that?
where do you
think-
read this?
The top one?
That
the
was,
first-
MPF was going to do that.
Okay, so
We
again,
missed-
should we just remove it then?
We missed it, yeah.
Oh, well, we missed it, okay. Then we can just take it off the list. That one can come off.
We can take it off the table because if they do reapply, it won't be until late fourth quarter of next year.
Of next-
Okay,
yeah.
so then we need somebody to move in second to take,
I move or remove that from the.
all right?
Second,
Second that.
Mr. Ayer,
Aye.
Mr. Bartlett.
Aye.
Ms. Brown Knight.
Aye.
Dr. Lewis.
Aye.
Mr. Van Stone.
Aye.
Mr. York.
Aye.
All right, we'll take that off. But we're gonna leave the signage thing on.
And what about the third one then? About the obstructions in the yard?
Well, the obstructions in the yard, I think that has to do with, some to do with the parking, Susan, the parking pads in the front. You know, we had the issue about creating parking pads.
Yes, I think that was another one, Rod. I need to talk to Rod. That was something, and I didn't get the background, he just said it needs to be tabled.
Well, why don't we leave it for
Oh,
now?
that's fine.
Pending, yeah.
I have a blue one too, sorry.
It's an item that
Yeah.
still needs to be, we still need to address that because that issue is kind of percolating out there.
Okay,
Yep.
yeah.
While we're on cleanup, on the task list, number 6 is the walking path to Whiskey Creek, and it still has Mrs. Rankin, and she's now our fiscal officer. Is that something we should take off the list or reassign, or what?
I mean, walking Whiskey Creek, has anybody been down there? You can get about, if you go from the bell tower, you can get across the first creek, and then it's just completely caved in. And somebody has actually put a rope so that you can pull yourself up. So walking Whiskey Creek is a project that's going to have to involve,
So should that be put into a committee?
I don't know, I don't know, it's an insurmountable task.
I think for the time.
I mean, it's
this
going to
being-
take the civil engineers to get down there and.
Yeah, that, and this being winter, nobody's gonna go down there, wanna take a walk and look around. Why don't we, I mean, that's something that probably.
You know what
I
I
think
mean,
what Matt's
Ben,
bringing-
down there?
I think Matt's.
You know
point
what
is,
I mean?
Who are we gonna assign it to then? That's what I'm saying. You know, Matt's saying Kelly's probably not the right person anymore because he's not the fiscal officer. Who's the right person putting in next time?
Well.
Or do we
Or
take
is
it
it-
off?
Public
is it-
Works, you know,
Or is it, I don't know, it's a huge,
I'm
It's a
saying right now.
huge undertaking.
He's got enough on his plate. We don't need to assign it anywhere for the time being. You know, let's wait till the spring, so somebody can get down there, make an assessment.
We still have Chris.
And we still have Chris, but he's not gonna be taking a walk down there anytime soon either.
Just take Kelly's name off.
Yeah, just
Okay.
take her off.
I don't know, I think Chris and Ben and I should take a field trip.
So the concourse trellises, who's leading that to replace those? Because I know we said we took it off the list because it said get bids, but we're not doing, we're doing it in-house, we're saving a lot of money, which is great. Who's doing that?
Me?
So we should have, but you've got to be getting help from other people, right? Or is it just, it's just you're leading it then?
Well, I don't see you showing up over there.
He's the,
No,
he's the one on the
your
ladder.
woodworking skills are much better than mine. It would look awful if I
No,
did.
yes, I have volunteers, but I need to sort of reorganize them and, get started again, here coming up,
I just was curious who's leading the project, so it's yours.
Well, it's
He's
sort of
doing all the
started off,
hand-
It was Matt and I. Yeah.
Am I getting sucked back into this?
You are.
Yeah.
Sounds like it to me.
Why should I let him off?
I think Bob got in recently, too.
Yeah.
Only my router so far.
Yeah.
And Randy and Bill, have you guys set up a meeting with Waldorf yet
Oh, yeah.
about the parking lot? Since we've got that in the budget supposedly for this year?
I'd like to be at that meeting too, because it is part of that thing in Public Works.
Okay. We'll set a meeting. One of these days.
One of these days, huh?
Well, you're not gonna lay blacktop now, it's, 5
No,
years out.
but remember, we said their
I know,
fiscal
I know.
budget
Have the
starts
conversation.
in July, so you need to
Yeah.
you need
Well,
to talk
Bill's
now.
been a little busy running down all those questions you guys had for
Yeah.
him.
Yeah,
He's
I've
spent
been
about
busy with a
9
lot of
hours this
questions.
week on that,
So
so,
what's the status of the optimized IT thing? Because,
well, that's not on the agenda, is it?
no. But, so are we gonna bring it back to the next council meeting then?
Well, it was approved, wasn't it? We voted?
No, it was contingent upon looking at we hadn't seen the contract yet, so.
We approved it.
Yeah, we
Six
voted
to
the
nothing.
resolution to do it.
But the notes
I
also
didn't
say
see
it was
I didn't see
contingent
any
upon.
contingencies in there.
Yeah, it was. It was in there.
Would you write them in your copy?
No.
Well, since it's not on the agenda, should we be discussing it?
Yeah.
No, I know, so let's add it to the agenda for next time, because it would really help if I'd love to be able to see what the cost for the other places were,
Did you get my email later this afternoon?
Yeah,
Well, I explained to you why that's not gonna happen.
because you don't have cost, or because you don't
Because
want
of
to share
the
them, or
nature
what?
in which that we interviewed and talked to the other companies. It's not a process or a procedure that lent itself, as I explained in the email, to do a spreadsheet analysis.
I think as council members, as all elected officials, we need to make sure that whatever we're doing is really getting the best value for the taxpayers' dollars. And it's hard for me to even know, because I only see $1 amount. I don't know what the other options were, what their costs were. And you could have the best value, I don't know, but I can't in good conscience be able to look a resident in the eye and say, yep, that's the right thing that we did right there, because I don't know what the other choices were. And I don't know, it doesn't seem like it would be that hard to be able to just at least say, here's what the costs were for the other ones.
I'm
My
telling you.
experience is buying services. From when I was at GE, buying services is very difficult to compare, because different people have different capabilities, and it's just very difficult to do. And I think we had 2 individuals that looked at these, and I trust those individuals' judgment, because it's a judgment call. It's not a financial call, because you may get better cyber protection, in your opinion. And how much is cyber protection worth? You can't put a number on it.
I would have felt better if Eli was involved in the process.
She was involved in the
No,
process.
Excuse
her
me,
email
Ed?
to us, her email to all of us said, once she looked at the person who was at Kiwanis and said no, she said she was not involved from that point forward. Except for providing.
Excuse me, I have a question for Ed.
It was in the email.
Okay.
It was in the email.
Bill, can I ask, Ed, I'm really uncomfortable, because this really wasn't something that was on the agenda.
know.
So
Right.
what are your thoughts on that? That we're
Stop
having this
talking about it
discussion of
now.
something that's not on the agenda?
It's my recollection, last week, we authorized him to sign the contract with Optum. Whether or not it's a good decision he made, I don't know, but sometimes, guys, on council, you set the policies. You know that you need some sort of an IT service to represent this village and to help this village out. Then you've got your administrators that actually have to implement whatever policy you guys vote on. You voted on to get the contract. I presume that our mayor is qualified. I presume that our village administrators qualified. You know, we can't micromanage everything they do, I don't think. It was my understanding, Rob, last time it was, you had some legitimate questions. Frankly, I thought you raised some excellent points in your letter. I'm thinking about asking you to come work for me at my law firm. But no, I agree with you. There were some issues. Bill tells me I talked with him. He says he addressed those issues. He clarified everything with the people at Optimize. And I thought, well, that's fine, you know.
So we signed it, you signed it?
I haven't signed it yet.
Okay.
And Ed, you reviewed it.
Yeah, he did.
I did review it, yeah.
Awesome.
Because,
Thank you.
Yeah, I did review it, but a lot of the things that Rob says, Rob and I kind of live in different worlds, you know. I don't live in that.
Don't say it.
That internet world and computer world. I'm nowhere near as computer savvy as you are. Some of the questions that you asked about that contract did not even hit my radar screen because I didn't even know that they were, what you were asking about. But then when I kind of dug into it a little bit, those are all great questions. From a legal standpoint, it's an enforceable contract, I can tell you. Whether or not it's a good contract, a good amount, I couldn't tell you in a million years.
but it seems like, because when we talked, we were told that there was no fee to break the contract, but then we find out that, yes, there is.
Yeah.
And it's half of the remaining value.
I thought we weren't supposed to be discussing this.
So I
How
think
many
we should talk-
times do I have to make that
And I
point?
answered that, you had the answers to those questions, did you not?
Yeah, no, I'm saying, when we agreed to this, we said, we said, hey, there's no fee to break out of this contract, let's definitely do that. But then when we got the contract, we saw, oh, no, there is a fee breakage there. So is it the right thing or not? I don't know. I think we need to have that conversation, because we didn't know
Would you
that there was
back
that
me up
breakage
on
fee
this? I
before.
mean, this is ridiculous.
So, I'm not saying to solve it now, I'm saying, that's
Yeah, we've
fine,
got to
we
be a
can just
little
talk it next
careful.
time.
It's not on the agenda.
Yeah, let's talk it next time.
Yeah.
No, I want to see where we are on the village administrator job description.
Okay, again,
It's been
we
14
are,
months.
listen,
Tonight, it's
guys,
14
we
months.
are so deviating off this agenda here tonight. My patience, my leniency for this is at the,
I would also add that, is this really the appropriate forum to be having
when do
that
I bring
discussion?
it up?
Call him, ask him.
Well, but I'm sorry, but I think there needs to be an agreement to this stuff, because that was, back on November 6th, when we had the committee of the whole. I mean, Bill, you said Mr. Barlow would be appointed pending the job description. And then in the same meeting, you said the goal of having the job description completed by November 27th. And so it's 2 months later, and we still haven't, and I know you're really close. I mean,
did you not see a draft of it already?
Yeah, and I provided you some suggestions, but I don't think anybody else, I mean, I don't know if other people
Well,
have seen it.
because
so-
certain refinements have been being made to it since we presented you with the draft of it.
Okay.
And it was suggested to me that basically it would be better to present that job description along with hers and Rod's.
Yeah.
And a few of the others have been a little remiss in getting that to me.
Yeah, I think the answer to Randy's question, number one, it's not on the agenda to talk about. Number two, it's an important question. I think the answer is he's working on it, and then if you want to put it on the agenda for next council meeting, we can do that to try to finalize it, or two council meetings from now, whenever you guys think. Apparently, the mayor looks to you, Rob, a lot for advice, so whenever you two guys reach
Well,
some sort of.
I touched base with him. I thought he did a really nice job. It's a really good first cut, and I had like 2 tweaks, but again, that's just me. I think the other people need to be able to see that as well and have
I've
their
seen it,
input. So,
because I asked.
okay. Well, and again, I think we need to have a conversation as a group at the next council meeting, so let's just put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
And let's put the IT contract on the agenda, just to make sure we're agreed on, is it 3 years or not, or whatever, because that was not, that was.
Okay,
there was a-
I'm not agreeing to any of that. If it happens, it'll happen. If it doesn't, it doesn't. I'm not going to be micromanaged into doing that.
Doing that, what?
Agreeing that I'm going to put this on, I'm going to put that on, that kind of a thing.
Yeah,
And you know what? We are adjourned.